welcome to a very, very big and important subject today. Well, if you have been anywhere close to Ghana, anywhere close to Ghana, you may have heard that since the NPP won the elections, their supporters have been on the rampage, if I may say, seizing toll booth, bridges, offices, claiming that, well, our government is in power and therefore we have a stake or a right to this. However, it has been some sort of a trend where anytime a political party comes to power, the foot soldiers of those parties, hit these same venues and they lay claim to it. But isn't it amazing that maybe as I sit here presenting the show and then all of a sudden somebody just barges in and says, well, my government is in power, therefore now I am hosting the show. And I said, well, okay, that's fine. Well, your government is in power, so I leave my seat and then hand over the show to that person. It sounds very weird. What sort of a job application is that? And how is it that those who are already manning these posts will gladly leave and those who are coming have the audacity to come? That's what we need to find. Is it a trend that we can stop? What is the honesty behind it? What is the fascination that as soon as a government changes, those manning the public toilets have to change, those manning polling toll booths have to change? What is it? What is the truth behind it? And indeed, how good or bad is it for governance, and what are the security implications? And for all these questions, I have a wonderful guest to answer them all. My name is Nana Sakwa IV, Chief of the only Republic of Akwamu Edumasa, and your favorite host. I'm coming back, and when I come back, I will introduce my guest. Don't move. Very much for staying. Election violence, Security Express warn that turning a blind eye could cause dire for the country. Well, with me in the studio, sat right next to me is Nanayawa Koda, who is Executive Director for Bureau of Public Safety. Nanayawa, Happy New Year and welcome.
Thank you.
And then my brother Fred Odro, who's a political analyst. Also, Happy New Year, my brother.
Welcome.
And then as the saying goes, that you can always run, but you can't hide. Another long-lost brother of mine, Inisa Fuseni, Honorable Member of Parliament for Tamale Central, former immediate past Minister of Roads and Highways. So this basically falls within his jurisdiction. How come it is that these roads are being manned, depending on who is in government? Alhaji, you're welcome.
Thank you, Nana. Thank you.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Alhaji, let me start with you.
Okay, thank you.
But first of all, I'm going to do preliminary comment on the selection of cabinet ministers that went on today. Alhaji, just preliminary comments. What do you say?
Well, I think that is not surprising. Apart from Ajaku, Obachia Jaku, the others hints have been dropped earlier on that they were going to do specific ministries, and nothing changed. I mean, they really went to those ministries. Apart from four of them who are new, all others we've had a glimpse of them, what they have to offer. I like to think that this is, for those people, I like to think that it's like a recycled ministerial position. They've come back. Or like what the Bible says, old wine in new bottles, not so. I think that's what the Bible says. And so we know what they are capable of and what they are not capable of, and what they were able to do when they were given the opportunity. We had actually expected, and somehow that the new president Nana Akufo-Addo will inject some fresh blood, fresh thinking. Mind you, I don't say young blood, I say fresh blood, new thinking into how he will run his government, especially because of the legitimate and reasonable expectations of Ghana that manifested in an overwhelming election victory for him. I mean, Ghanaians want new things being done. They want to see changes which are new and fresh and convincing. I didn't see that, even though it's a blend of the old and the new.
It didn't inspire any confidence?
I didn't see that.
Good. Let me come to Fred. Fred, your views on what you saw?
Well, on the contrary, I beg to differ from Honorable, but I can understand his position. I strongly believe these are very good individuals, and if you look at their backgrounds, they've done quite well, with the exception of, say, somebody like Honorable Nitiwu, who is fairly young, but even with him, he came into Parliament. He's now 39 years old. It's strange that he's 39 years old, but he's been in Parliament for about 12 years, almost 12 years. And in the last 4 years, he's been Deputy Minority Leader. And by and large, he's not done too badly. So I think, for me, what came out as a surprise for me was sending somebody like Honorable Matthew Poku Prempeh Napo to education, because earlier on there were quite a lot of rumors in circulation that he was going to be sent to the health ministry, and somebody like Honorable Kwajima Manu being sent to health. But by and large, I don't think it's quite interesting, and I'm impressed that somebody like the finance minister, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, his background, I mean, he's got such a solid background in the private sector, coming on board. Somebody like the petroleum minister designate. I mean, I've listened to him quite a lot. He's such an articulate, and he seems very knowledgeable. And if you look at his background too, it's quite rich. So for me, it's an inspiring appointment. But that does not constitute success.
You have to eat the pudding.
That is it.
Let me come to Nanaya. Nanaya, what's your take?
Well,
I mean, this is the first time I'm seeing anything like this, where you're called to stand, they read your CV and tell you what is expected of you, and you go and sit down. I mean, so
Yeah, I think that was quite dramatic. The names that have been dropped, a lot of them are quite heavyweights, and they inspire some level of confidence. Interesting. We want to see the National Security Minister, the National Security Advisor, National Security Coordinator. These are very, very inspiring, that at least for once we are going to see 3 key persons all working together, and all these guys can be called to Parliament at any time. And I think that is very comforting, that these can be held directly accountable by the people. I think the bit on Ken Ofori-Atta is also very interesting, as an investment banker now heading the Ministry of Finance. I think it's important. For me, it appears quite strategic, and we should just wait and see what unfolds, because the Ghanaian socioeconomic architecture, are very set up, does not respond appropriately to theoretical stimuli. So it's important that these guys come in to man the affairs of the nation, get down well to understand the socio-cultural approaches, that we have towards everything. We have turned ours is upside down. So what we studied in school, as soon as you go out there, is a whole different ball game. When you move to Europe, the European economy, you look at how they are set up, responds to economic policies and things that you put out there. It's totally different when you come to Ghana. So I'm trusting that someone like Ken, with his numerous years managing his bank and all, he's going to bring that to bear, because he might have tasted a bit of our dynamism, and he's taking it at the national level. It should be quite interesting to watch. And of course, Honorable Nitiwu too, for defense. Am I right? Yes, for defense. It will be interesting to watch him too.
Let me go back to Alhaji. How did you like like the dramatic way of announcing the minister. That was a bit new. I mean.
Yeah, well, because I'm in Parliament. That's why I said that there's only about Boachi Ajako.
No, I'm just talking about the drama where you are called, your CV is read, and your expectations are told you, and then you go and sit down.
Yeah, that's the new recruitment policy, also. That's the way Nana. That's the way Nana wants to do it. I mean, gets you. I mean, in tune with what he wants to do, and tell you clearly that there's nothing to hide. What you've written on your CV, that's what we are reading out to you. I mean, if it turns out in Parliament that your CV has problems, it's actually you who gave us the CV, and that's what we are reading to you.
Good.
And I also think it's more of letting the electorate or the Ghanaian populace get to know that this is the caliber of person
who's coming on board.
I'm bringing on board, and this is what we are all expecting of you, the individual. Because when you stand and they talk, it's like, do not disappoint. Yeah, so I think it's quite dramatic, and I hope that it really have the impact that it's supposed to have, psychological impact that it's supposed to have on these individuals who have been, honored in this fashion.
Wow, let me go back to Alhaji. Alhaji, we're going straight to Tamale. There, NADMO office, MPP Youth are saying, look, it's our turn. YEA office, it's our turn. NHIA office, it's our turn. Come back down to Accra, passport office, Akpokloshi, Old Fadama, what's happening? And will they ever stop in our lifetime, or we just have to manage it?
Well, it can stop, but the most surprising was the passport office.
Was serious.
Yeah, because passport office, that's a security zone,
zone.
And then a person must be qualified before a passport is issued to him, not so. And then the first we just want to take control of the passport office and issue passports to who?
Well, I think
now,
they wanted the security.
But that tells you something.
They wanted the security aspect of it.
No, that tells you something. That tells you that there's something fundamentally wrong at the passport office. That tells you that there's money to be made at the passport office. The people go after places where they can make money, except where there's vengeance. They want to revenge. Agbogbloshie in 2006 or 2009 or thereabouts, there was serious fight over there for supremacy, and some people were dislodged. Those people somehow are sympathizers of the new government, and so that's why a press conference was issued just recently that they should impose a curfew on Agbogbloshie, because those living in Agbogbloshie were fearful that, upon the swearing in of the president, those who were dislodged might come back and revenge. So that is a different matter. It's not about making money. It's about what was done us. We will do same to you. For the toll booths, it's all about money. It's about the leakages. I mean, they see people who are manning the toll booths suddenly become rich because the revenue inflows into the government kit is leaking at the toll booths, and so they want to take control. But unknown to them, the toll booths are being manned by people or companies on contracts, and they have to make sales per the indicators they have been given. So, having dislodged these people at the toll booths, they had rendered the realization of the contractual sums impossible. And so, yes, all the NYEA officers, they saw them as basis for the recruitment of party loyalists. Under the NDC, they saw them, these people were recruiting NDC loyalists into places of work now, and so we had no work. So this is our time to also take over and provide work for our people. So these are largely the reasons why people who are sympathetic to a government will want to take over the race. The toilets, they are money-making ventures now. I mean, the urinals, the urinal pits, they are money-making ventures for now. And so people want to sit down and take the monies from those who will want to visit the toilets and respond to nature. And so clearly, you will see what is happening as an attempt, one, to put themselves in an economically advantageous position so that they can also benefit from the largest of government. They might not get appointed into any public office, but their appointment is at the toilet place where they can also make ends meet. They might not get appointed into a public office, but they think that if they take control of the toll booth, I mean, they can also get their share of the government largesse. Except where, like I've said, Agbogbloshie, where it is purely a matter of revenge.
Fred, let me come to you. I'm sure you've listened. What would you have to say? I don't even need to ask you a question.
Well, Nana, I ask myself about 3 questions. First one is, which institutions are being attacked, basically? Hitherto, we saw a lot of toilets, then it went into toll booths. Strangely, we are having passport office. And I want us to isolate the Agbogbloshie issue, because that is also a different situation out there. But then you ask yourself, how is the mode of appointment to some of these places, these jobs? And if you look at the toilets, the public toilets, you ask, these are contracts. Some of them are service contracts that normally the assemblies would give out. What is the mode of awarding of these contracts? You see, fundamentally, there is something wrong with this country. There is lack of openness in our governance system. How government contracts are awarded it's shrouded in so much secrecy. How people can get jobs in particularly public sector is shrouded in so much secrecy. That leads to some of these challenges that we are having. And again, I am so disappointed in our police. So disappointed in the police in this country. They have failed us so much. Why is the police afraid to arrest these criminals? This plain criminality. Why are they looking at their back? Are they afraid if they arrest some people, they are not going to get some juicy positions? I think truth must be told in this country. Public servants are so much afraid of the politician that even when the politician is misbehaving, we are afraid of the politician to the point that policemen are afraid of foot soldiers. I'm very worried for this country. If this is the tone, that the line we are taking. This has been happening. Every 4 years, it's become a cycle. Why? Where is justice in this country? In Agbogbloshie, 4 people were killed in broad daylight. And to date, not a single person has been successfully prosecuted. Why wouldn't the other person turn around? So if the police should start doing their work, I think we will have some peace in this country.
Nana, let me bring you in. And for you, I want you to focus on NADMO, and I want you to focus on, this Agbogbloshie thing, because this is your area.
Well, let me disappoint you.
Sit down.
It's important that we look at this subject in context. Let's situate it in context. Otherwise, we'll end up, making people despair in all the efforts that we as a nation, we have been able to achieve as a young democracy. We must, first of all, appreciate the fact that our democracy is indeed young, very, very young, that one. And, usually in young democracies, during transitions.
Now speak up a bit.
Yeah. I mean, usually in young democracies, during transitions, it can be very chaotic. Where I tend to agree with you slightly with the public safety organs, as in the police coming into work, is that we should, having seen 2001, the kind of chaos that greeted transition in 2001, and then getting a playback in 2008, 2009, the second transition, we should have been able to preempt or predict this one, so that we would be able to at least check some of these things in time as and when they occur. For people to move as far as the passport office, which is a very sensitive area. We are talking people's private information. We are talking passports, security installation and that. For them to even access the place, to be spoken to back out is a serious violation of our security protocols, and we must be looking at that. At this point, we should be speaking to some security technical person who has been hired by the state to ensure that such facilities are always secured. There's been a breach of the security at the passport office. That is key. Having said that, like I indicated, it's important that moving forward, maybe we'll come to the moving forward in the latter part of everything, but we must also understand that these people who do this are party operatives, some of whom my senior honorable here may personally know them, and it cuts across all the political parties. They all have these guys who go out and work for them. So in times like this, when they begin to conduct or misconduct themselves, it becomes difficult for the politicians to put the axe where it has to be. And let me quickly draw your mind to 2008. I think after the first round or so, we had a prominent youth commander of one of the parties asking party members to take positions at various ministries, YEA, and so on and so forth. That was disturbing. Even though it did not happen, fast forward to 2016, that is what we are seeing. And so this subculture, ugly subculture that we are seeing, is partly perpetuated by the politicians themselves. Look at NADMO. NADMO is huge. 10 regional offices, 110 or so district offices, another 900 zonal offices. So NADMO, and these are places where avenues where political parties engage their own. So like Honorable Inusaf Hussaini said, they are in the communities with these people. They realize that, oh, this guy, when his party came to power, he's got a job at NADMO. He's got a job at YEA. So now that power has changed hands, it is time for us to also move in. After all, we've been instructed that when we win power, we must wear our coats and move into those places and take positions. So we should, address this issue right from the top to the bottom. And maybe as we move on, we will talk about how
let me
address these issues.
Alhaji, if I go to toll booths, which fell under your jurisdiction for some time, Ministry of Roads and Highways, if they had been automated, where there's a lot of less human contact, there won't be any incentive for you to go and run an automated toll booth. It's the ability that, well, I will collect the money and I choose whether to put it in the kitty or not. So, I mean, after 8 years, the NDC was in power, so then we'll ask, I mean, why didn't you automate them?
Yes, you're right. It's because this avenue for making money, and the toll booth clearly is one sure place where if there are leakages, people will want to attack. I mean, and that's why they attacked the place. But yes, coming back to the automation of the toll booths, long before I went to the Ministry of Roads and Highways, there was a conscious attempt to automate the toll booths. The government had even engaged the University of Ghana to do a pilot. And so when you drive on the Tema motorway, you will see 2 or so of the toll booths, the tolls, the toll stations being automated. Even the Kaswa one, you see, this was on pilot basis. But I mean, after I went to the Ministry of Roads and Highways, we got specific directives to try to automate most of our toll booths in this country. And so we were working closely with the Ministry of Finance to automate them. And I think that we're going to do it through the PPP. So the PID unit of the Ministry of Finance was doing that. I just hope that my successor, the new incoming government and the minister who will be going there will also see reason in automating the toll booths. Apart from people, party supporters attacking the toll booths because they see it as a money-making avenue, cutting leakages or blocking leakages at the toll booths will immensely increase the revenue inflow into the road fund account and also improve upon our chances of our capacity to maintain our roads. Yeah.
I say this because in 2010, when the booth was moved back and then automated, the newspaper article, I think the revenue went from 9,000 cedis a day to like 36,000 cedis a day overnight. And I was actually...
What at Timbuktu?
No, the Tema Motorway.
Tema Motorway.
Yeah, they moved it back.
Yes.
Yeah, and then they automated it. This was 2010.
Yes.
And overnight, an average of, I think, 6,000 to 9,000 cedis a day. Overnight, they went to 36,000 cedis. Okay, they argue that then it went from, I think, 10 pesos to 50 pesos. So there was an increase in the toll. But, I mean, it was like 3,000%.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. And I was hoping that, all the old guys would have been jailed or locked up or something. But it was business as usual until I'm sure they realized that, listen, this automated thing has to be broken down. And therefore, we are back to manual. So the truth of the matter is that the monies are not 100% going to state. And whichever government is in power, you can't be too loud because this is what you use to feed all the boys who put the posters up and helped you.
No, contrary to the facts. You see, I went to the Ministry of Roads and met the contract regime in place where the collection of revenue at the toll booths was outsourced. So it's not directly handled by government, it's outsourced. So clearly, if you look at the job creation, you create a job for the private sector. But again, that is where the distance. People come to you and they say, well, I want to work at a toll booth. You ask why? He says, that's where I want to work at. So the issue is at the toll booth, he's able to make money. He is able to recycle tickets. It takes, because it's manual. So he takes one ticket, sells it sometimes, and we do mystery shopping as well. I can tell you an experience where I was driving behind somebody. He's very known in this country, a rich man, a businessman. He paid almost all the police along the way. Not paying them, he would just dashing them money. But when he got to the toll booth, he didn't pay. Because they know him, he allowed him to pass. Other times, people just pay, take the ticket and drop. Maybe Nana, maybe you've done it, go into a Timbuktu, just take it and drop it. And then they go around and pick it and come and sell it to you. So that's how we get revenue leakages. And those working there go home with fat amounts of money. And that's why when there is a change, people want to attack that place because they also can go home with fat pockets of money.
Fred, but you are into governance, and I'm just wondering, I'm sure you have an office where you work. If it's a change of government and somebody walks in and says, well, Fred, it's my government now, so get up from the desk and go to work. How did you get there in the first place for you to understand that, well, in that case, it's okay, I'm leaving, you now come and work? How?
Nana, again, here I'm disappointed with our politicians. I'm not taking you personally, but forgive me for. You see, here is our honorable minister, and he's one of the most likable ministers we've had in this country.
He knows he's in my good books.
And honorable has told us the problem. And indeed, he knows the solution. Mama, in local government system, there's a sad thing happening. You go to most of the assemblies, they have this revenue collection. They have what we consider to be easy to collect areas and difficult to collect areas. You will find that an assembly will go into a PPP arrangement with a private person, say that go and collect these things for us. Then they will send their own staff to go to the more difficult to collect areas to do the revenue collection. Now here is a simple thing, and fortunately, we have an enlightened political class. All our politicians do get opportunity to travel around the world. they see how automated systems work. We know we can automate this thing, and yet we will pretend that, oh, let's not do it. Why do we even give out these things on contract when we can easily automate it and get a bank to do the collection for us? I can't understand these things. And these are the costs. I mean, let's not, those people who steal the monies. And you see, in this country, we've given corruption a beautiful name. We say, when somebody is stealing, we say corruption. So it's no more a sin to be corrupt. But this is thievery. Let's stop these leakages. Let's automate these things. Because if we have enough revenues, we wouldn't be using potholed roads and all these sort of things. And these same people will be getting jobs. The sad thing is that how many people work at these toll booths? Few people, in consideration of the amount of money they can make for themselves. So I think that our politicians should do the right thing by us, by doing the right things. That is, if we know that it is automation that will solve this problem, because if these roads were automated, who is going to take them over?
Nobody.
So let us do the right thing.
Let me take a quick break, and then I'll come back here, and then we'll find out. I mean, are all these tolls, these roads tollable? I mean, some of them are not necessarily that busy. So what then do we do with the likes of the motorways and the likes of the little side roads which has a bridge on it or something? What then happens? Don't move. We're coming straight back. The conversation never ends. We just carry on. We get a break, and then when we come back, we carry on going. But no, I think you wanted to make your comments. Let me.
Yes, I think there's a certain, with all due respect to the rest of the panel, I see a certain drift. Okay, as if to suggest that if we automated, some facilities or some services in the country, we can stem this tide of vigilantism.
Yeah.
I beg to differ. Because these groups will exist anyway. They are within these political
They're probably
parties.
going farm.
They are within these political parties. They have roles that they play in these political parties. And they play that role because they anticipate that when my party comes to power, I can get a job at XYZ. Okay? Look, just so we do not fall into the trap of thinking that we can automate things easily. We are a country that doesn't have reliable electricity supply. So even if we go fully automated, we are going to have issues, serious bottlenecks that will probably bring us back to abandoning those automations. We are a country with very poor database on individuals, vehicles, and so on and so forth. So it's a bit more expensive running automated system. Culture. Yes, very poor maintenance culture. Running automated systems, as opposed to putting human beings there. What I see as the way forward is probably a combination of some semi-automation with a little bit of human intervention, and then getting the political parties. I think the Honorable Minister of Interior, is it Kumbo?
That's defense.
Defense, okay. The Honorable Minister of Interior, a very favorite man. I can't believe I've forgotten his name.
Prosper?
Before Prosper. Before Prosper.
Oh, okay.
He was the one that brought this issue of vigilante groups within the political parties to the front for discussion.
Mark Oyongo.
Mark Oyongo, thank you. And he made some propositions then. And I think back then it was also another talk shop. We were called on radio. We had a few discussions. Okay, should we ban them, or do we integrate them, or do we engage them to know who is what and who is where. And I think we must revisit that whole discussion again, because if we do not engage or disband these people, they will come back to undermine the very democracy that we are seeking to build today. Whether we automate or we do not automate, we must immediately start the discussion on these vigilante groups within the political parties as soon as possible, probably before the next transition.
Alhaji, has Nana got a point? Because, okay, let's say we can automate the main motorways and probably the main bridges, but things like, toilet facilities and little roads and stuff, you can't automate them. So that still is left at the mercy of these
First
people.
of all, the Supreme Court ruling that bans the carrying of pit nice soil.
Yes. Long
so,
ago, right?
And long ago. And then the local government directive that we abandon the construction of public toilets. So these are matters that have been on the books. They are being considered, sometimes being implemented by some assemblies, and encouraging people to build toilets in their homes. Okay, because the British colonial, these public toilets are the legacy of the British colonial government, where they build them for us to congregate. Okay, and then we have taken it on as part of our subculture. Okay, but everybody knows that when you get there in the morning, it's a sight to behold. So the local authorities are moving towards ensuring that anybody building a new house has a toilet. Now, but even public toilets can be automated. I went to Malta, and the toilet one was underground, like our Kwame Nkrumah Circle, where they put the toilet underground, so that you go underground, but you have to access it by dropping a token, so that the gate will open, and so that you can defecate or free yourself and come out. That's number one, so it can be automated. Two, not all, and I agree entirely with you. Nana, I agree with you. Not all the toll booths can be automated. They are amenable to, not all of them are amenable to automation. Because, first of all, you need an internet platform. And we don't have the internet coverage all over the country. And so some toll booths will be out of automation. But even those which are within internet platforms that can be connected, because I use internet platform because now we are also moving at the Ministry of Roads and Highways from connecting to the national grid to doing a standalone power production, that is using solar, standalone systems. So you see most of our street lights, some of our street lights and most of our traffic lights are now on standalone systems. So that when the lights are off, you don't get the traffic confusion that used to characterize traffic lights being on national grid. So even the toll stations, when that will be on, that was the plan that I knew before I left the ministry, will be on standalone systems. But then, you see, because you have credit on a card or in a device, that will allow you to swap the card, and the toll allows you, the bar raises allows you to pass, or the money is deducted right from the device. It could happen that you think you have money on the card or money on the device, and you will have run out of money. So the automation will not respond. So you still need a manual toll booth in constructing the automated, so that in the event that somebody comes and is unable to access because he's run out of cash, he'll be able to, on the card, you'll be able to pay cash and pass. The greatest difficulty, you see, so when we even put it on in the papers, we advertise for what do you call it, application for expression of interest. We wanted, the security men will know, interconnectivity. That is, they should communicate. The toll stations must communicate with each other. For instance, if you are traveling on the Tema motorway and you have one card, it should not be necessary to have another card when you are traveling on the Kumasi road, or you have a third card when you are going to Cape Coast. Because that one, you don't create comfort and convenience for the traveler. So these were the matters that we were discussing. I'm quite sure listening to Ken Ofori-Atta today, talking about reduction of taxes, they must look for innovative ways of raising revenue to complement whatever, losses will arise as a result of the reduction in the tax. And these are some of the innovative ways. I'm quite sure, and I take it from what the analyst, the name again? Fred is saying, Fred Odro is saying, that yes, sometimes you can be disappointed because our system is so bureaucratic. That is the problem. You have to take it through levels of approval before you are able to implement. And in taking it through the levels of approval, that's where you have that's where we have delays. But political activism will not go. But rent-seeking should go. The rent-seeking activities of the political activists can stop. You see, when we automate, they do that because they know they are going to be better off if they take those facilities. That's why they do it. That's why I say it's rent-seeking. They want to better position themselves to derive the maximum benefit from it. When we make it impossible for them to derive that benefit, apart from working to earn an income, then they'll stop. It will not be an activity that will be appealing. So I think that that's where we should go. But yes, where any place there is transition. Look at the South African case.
In America.
Look at even America. Where, but especially in third world countries, where there is transition, we are even lucky. Sometimes people break the stores and carry away items.
Burn cars.
Burn cars and all those things. We are lucky, yeah.
Fred, we are even lucky.
No, I am not satisfied. There are extreme situations happening elsewhere. I think...
it's been 8 years since... Well, when I say 8 years, then...
More than that.
It's not fair. I'm not being fair on the NDC.
The last 16 years.
Yeah. So let's go back.
Yeah, from 2001.
And all we're saying is that...
2009, then 2016.
2012 and 2016.
2012 there wasn't, because it was NDC to NDC, so it didn't create much of that.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
But I can remember 2009. There were so many bad incidents. 2001, it was bad. 2009, terrible. And now we are still repeating it.
But this one is on a lower scale, actually.
Well, by and large. But Nana, I am going back to the point I raised earlier. Can we make our appointment system? There is the police, there is the military, there is the fire service, immigration. People want to get into this.
Privatize everything? What do you think?
No, make the system open so that if I go and I don't get the opportunity, I will never say it was because because I didn't have an honorable Yunusa Hussaini to hold my hand. That was why I didn't get. If they go is the military and they say you're going to run 100 meters and I fail to run 100 meters and I see all the people running who were able to make it get employed, I won't come back and fight with somebody that, oh, it is because my government is not in power. Sometimes you hear about recruitment going on and nobody knows the modality for getting into some of those things. So it creates this feeling that, oh, unless I struggle to bring my party to power, I will never get an opportunity to get a public sector job. So that will also happen. And then even in public contracting, people get contracts and it's not open. So somebody, like these public toilets, how are they awarded? It's service contracts most of these people are holding. So if these things were open, transparent, everybody will know that if I go through this system, I will get it done. And then another point that I want to raise, there's too much political patronage in our part of the world.
That's true.
The president, for instance, has too many appointments to make. So everybody is fighting to make sure their president wins. Now there's going to be a wholesale, a lot of people are going to lose their job, a new set of people are going to come in. Why do we bring this upon ourselves? By allowing these things to come. So we need to change a lot of things. And I am of the opinion that if our politicians change their ways, then if our legal system, particularly the police, if you see, there has been cases that I've heard police commanders, district commanders and the rest, talking on radio, and they say, oh, well, it was an internal political problem. I have always told, I tell my friends, I've never seen a NDC or MPP committing crime.
What is the truth behind the police not being able to jump in and say, look, this is an illegality, stop? It's always treated with soft gloves.
He said one thing and I laughed. First of all, he said, oh, if the thing is open and everybody's to run 100 meters and you fail, you don't come blame anyone. That's why you should, well, maybe in future you enter politics and see that what he has said sometimes is true. That our political structure system sometimes does not respond to intellectual stimuli. He comes, you recommend him, okay, go see the man, but you have to run. In this particular case, you used run, and it was really running. And the big man has said, look, sir, yes, I will consider him, but he has to run. And I'm taking the first 20. Now, his advantage is that he's gotten to know this even before the others. If he's not practicing, he should start. I communicated that to him. He couldn't finish the race. My accusation, I could have waived the requirement for running.
Even after all you did.
Of all the support
and everything. Waived the requirement for running. Yeah, so that's it. So political patronage, it manifests itself in many ways. But again, it's the Constitution, Article 58. Executive power of state is vested in the president.
Massive.
Executive power in the interpretation section, Article 296 of the Constitution is equilibrated to government. So the president is government.
Imperial powers.
Yes. So if you look at the powers vested in the president, he has to everything other than legislature and judiciary. It's executive.
Even the judiciary is beholden to the president.
It's executive. So he has to make them. But except that in some instances, when he makes the appointment, they become insulated by certain provisions. He can no longer remove them. But yeah, even quasi-judicial bodies like Shraj, when he makes them, because executive power is vested in him. So that is the political system we are running. That is why civil society, and I'm happy you say you enter politics, that's good. And Nananum, they're there. That's why civil society is there, to hold the balance between the arbitrary use of power, the callousness that goes with absolute power, because absolute power corrupts absolutely. So there should be countervailing forces. And in our case, the countervailing forces are the NGOs, the CSOs. Okay? They are the countervailing forces. Because even when you look at the Constitution and Parliament, the president must choose a majority of his ministers
from Parliament.
So Parliament can be wicked, because if you want to be the loner in Parliament and go against your president, as happened in the Third Republic and the Liban, you will never catch the eye of the president. You understand? So these are the arrangements. And that is why the policeman knows that if he's chief inspector, he wants to go to DSP and ASP, Commissioner of Police.
Or even be in specific areas.
So he knows, and because executive authority is vested, he knows that me, when I was minister, I was using delegated authority. The president had delegated part of his authority to me, except in situations where I need to defer to him. And so his closeness to me might insulate him against certain posters. And so so you will see that immediately the tide begins changing. And it changes on the 7th day of December in an election year. the security apparatus watch the process carefully. And when I say the security apparatus, I mean the police, the military, all they watch the process very, very carefully. And you'll be surprised that when it's so clear and manifest that there's a shift in power, your commands will no longer be obeyed. You'll still be in power, but they will not be obeyed. Because you lack your capacity to influence him or to affect him adversely is thereby reduced. So it is the political, it's part of the system that we have created that rewards people because of, by their association, because they are associated with so and so, and lacks and diminishes their capacity to be professional. Because these institutions were created to be professional, but they see their progress within those institutions as tied to the fortunes of political parties.
All too soon, that is what time would allow us. Even you just want my producer to say, Nana, carry on for another 30 minutes. But here's Yao Forcing screaming in my ear, Nana, time is up, time is up. But let me say thank you very much to my guest, Alhaji Yusuf Hussaini, Honorable Member of Parliament for Tamale Central, Nana Yao Akwada, Executive Director, Bureau of Public Safety, and Fred Oduro, who's a government analyst. My name is Nana Sakwa IV. Tomorrow we'll be back here to do this all over again. Thank you for watching.